I was 1 second away from taking that bite, and it would have been my last. Because the person who cooked that meal was someone I trusted more than anyone. My name is Sarah, and everything I believed about my family shattered in one single night. It started so normally. Too normally. Dinner was ready, the table was set, and for a moment, life felt peaceful again. I picked up my fork, and that's when my husband shouted, "Don't eat that." His voice, it didn't sound like him. It was sharp, urgent, terrifying. My hand froze midair. I looked at him, confused, scared. And then I saw it. Fear. Real fear in his eyes. "Before you touch that food," he said slowly, "you need to see something." And in that moment, something inside me broke. But to understand why that moment mattered, you need to know what our life was like before. Because once upon a time, our home wasn't filled with fear. It was filled with laughter. My husband, Daniel, he was the kind of man who made ordinary days feel special. Sunday mornings meant burnt toast, too much coffee, and him smiling like it was a 5-star breakfast. We had dreams. Simple ones. A bigger house, maybe kids someday, maybe travel, when life slowed down. But life didn't slow down. It stopped. 2 years ago, Daniel was in a car accident. I still remember the hospital. That cold smell, those uncomfortable chairs, and doctors speaking in soft, careful voices. He survived, they said. But survival came with a price. His spine was damaged. And just like that, the man who once carried me in his arms couldn't even stand on his own. I watched him change. I watched him learn how to sit in a wheelchair, how to ask for help, how to hide his pain so I wouldn't cry. Those months, they broke us. Bills kept piling up. Friends slowly disappeared. And even family started visiting less and less. Except one person. My sister. When everyone else stepped back, she stepped in. She moved into our house without even asking. She cooked, cleaned, helped Daniel with his therapy. And on nights when I couldn't sleep, she stayed awake with me. "You're not alone," she would say. "I'm here." And I believed her. Honestly, I don't know how we would have survived without her. She became the strength of our home. Daniel trusted her. I trusted her. Sometimes, I even felt guilty because she gave up her own life for us. But she never complained, never showed frustration, always smiling, always kind. People used to tell me, "You're lucky to have a sister like her." And I agreed. Slowly, life became stable again. Not perfect, but manageable. Mornings were quiet, afternoons filled with therapy, evenings peaceful. And for the first time since the accident, I started to believe something dangerous. That everything was finally getting better. Daniel even started smiling again. Not like before, but close enough. He began working from home. He joked sometimes. And every small improvement felt like a miracle. And through it all, my sister was always there, helping him, reminding him about his medicine, cooking his favorite meals. Sometimes, I'd watch them laughing together, while I cleaned in the kitchen. And I'd think, maybe this tragedy brought us closer. Maybe this is what family is supposed to look like. But then, little things started to feel off. Small things, easy to ignore. One evening, after a long therapy session, Daniel barely spoke during dinner. I thought it was just pain. He looked tired, distant. When I asked him later, he smiled and said he was fine. So I didn't push. Because when life hits you that hard, you learn not to question every bad moment. Days passed. Everything looked normal. At least to me. But my sister started insisting on something. "You rest," she'd say. "I'll handle everything tonight." And honestly, I let her. Because loving someone like Daniel, it's beautiful, but it's also exhausting, in ways no one ever talks about. So when she took over, I was grateful. That was my first mistake. One afternoon, she came home earlier than usual. Her hands were full of grocery bags, and her smile was brighter than normal. "I thought I'd cook something special tonight," she said cheerfully. I smiled back, but Daniel didn't. For a split second, I noticed something strange. His fingers tightened on the armrest of his wheelchair. His jaw slightly clenched. It was subtle. So subtle. I almost ignored it. Almost. Later, while she was in the kitchen, I caught Daniel staring down the hallway. Not working. Not reading. Just watching. Everything okay? I asked softly. He hesitated. Just for a second. Then, that same answer again. I'm just tired. And I believed him. Because why wouldn't I? That evening felt warm. Normal. The smell of food filled the house. And for a moment, it felt like the old days. Before the accident. Before the pain. My sister laughed while cooking, telling stories, bringing up childhood memories. And I remember thinking, maybe we made it through the worst. But that's the thing about danger. It doesn't always look like danger. Sometimes, it looks like home. Before dinner, she wiped her hands and said she had something urgent to take care of. Eat while it's hot, she smiled. Then she hugged me, tightly, longer than usual. And then, she looked at Daniel. That look. I didn't understand it at the time. But now, I'll never forget it. Then she left. The house went quiet. Just me and my husband. I placed the plates on the table. Steam rose from the food. Warm, inviting, normal. I picked up my fork. Daniel was watching me. Not eating. Just watching. I laughed softly. What? You're not hungry. No answer. Just his eyes, locked on my plate. Something about it made my chest feel tight. But I still lifted the fork. Closer. Closer. And then, stop. His voice exploded through the room. The sound hit me like a shockwave. My hand froze. The fork slipped from my fingers and clattered against the plate. I stared at him, my heart racing. He had never shouted like that. Never. His face was pale, but his eyes, they were clear, focused, terrified. Don't eat it, he said again, slower this time, controlled. My voice came out as a whisper. What are you talking about? He didn't answer. Not immediately. Instead, he slowly reached beside his wheelchair and picked up his phone. His hands were steady. Too steady. I didn't want to believe it, he said quietly. I prayed I was wrong. My stomach dropped. Wrong about what? He tapped the screen and turned the phone toward me. It was a video from our kitchen, recorded earlier that evening. My breath stopped. The angle. It was from above. Hidden. The kitchen door opened. And then, my sister walked in. She looked around carefully, like she was making sure no one was watching. My chest tightened. No, I whispered. Then, she reached into her purse, pulled out a small bottle. Tiny. Almost invisible. My hands started shaking. In the video, she opened it and poured something into the food. My world tilted. I couldn't breathe. No, no, no. Daniel's voice was low. I installed that camera weeks ago. I turned to him, stunned. Why? His jaw clenched. Months ago. I overheard her on the phone. He swallowed. She was angry, saying the accident should have finished me. My heart felt like it was being crushed. I thought I misunderstood, he continued. But then, strange things started happening. Medicine going missing, drinks tasting different. He looked at me, pain in his eyes. I had no proof. And I didn't want to destroy your relationship with her, without it. Tears blurred my vision. So tonight, I whispered. She thought I was asleep, he said. But I saw everything. The room felt suffocating, like the walls were closing in. And then, headlights flashed through the window. A car door slammed outside. My heart stopped. Daniel looked at me. Calm. Too calm. She's back. The front door unlocked. Soft footsteps echoed through the house. My entire body went cold. Oh my God, her voice called out sweetly. I couldn't stop thinking about you too. I just came to check if everything's okay. That voice. The same caring tone. The same loving sister. But now, it sounded fake. So fake. She stepped into the dining room and froze. Her eyes dropped to the table. The plates. Untouched. Then slowly, she looked at Daniel, then at me. Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. And then, Daniel did something I will never forget. He stood up. Slowly. Calmly. Without holding anything. Without help. My breath caught in my throat. Her face turned white. "You," she whispered. He took a step forward. Then another. "I was never completely helpless," he said quietly. "I just needed the right moment." My mind couldn't process what I was seeing. Two truths. Crashing into each other at once. The man I thought couldn't stand was walking, and the woman I trusted most was a stranger. Daniel turned the phone toward her. The video was still playing. Her hands began to tremble. "What is this?" I asked, my voice breaking. For a second, she said nothing. Then suddenly, she collapsed into the chair, tears streaming down her face. "He was supposed to be mine," she screamed. The words hit harder than anything else. Mine. Years of love, trust, sacrifice. And that's what it all came down to. She started talking. Fast. Broken. Uncontrollable. Before Daniel and I got married, she had feelings for him. Not just a crush. An obsession. But he chose me. And she smiled at our wedding. She hugged me. She played the perfect sister. But inside, she never forgave us. "The accident," she said through tears. "That was my chance." My stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" I whispered. Her silence said everything. She planned it. She wanted him gone. And when he survived, that wasn't enough. "If I can't have him," she said, shaking, "no one will." I felt sick. This wasn't jealousy. This was something darker. Something dangerous. Daniel quietly pressed something on his phone. And then, in the distance, sirens. Police sirens. He had already called them. Minutes later, they arrived. She didn't fight. Didn't deny it. Didn't even look at me. They took her away. In silence. And just like that, she was gone. The door closed. And the house felt empty. Broken. Unfamiliar. Daniel stood beside me. Standing. For the first time in 2 years. Tears filled his eyes. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I just wanted to protect you." I wrapped my arms around him. Tightly. But even in that moment, one thought wouldn't leave my mind. The most dangerous people in your life aren't strangers. They're the ones who smile at you, sit at your table, and call you family. The truth didn't just expose a crime that night. It destroyed the meaning of trust forever. Honestly, if I were in that situation, I don't know what would hurt more. The betrayal, or the fact that it came from someone I love the most. What would you do if someone this close to you betrayed you like this? Would you ever be able to trust anyone again? Eyes.